Bristol Community College, Mathematics with Dan Avedikian, Math 132, Calculus with Applications, Section 12.3, Problem 12. This is Section 12.3, Problem number 12. It says find the derivative of f of x equals 5x plus 1, in parentheses, times, in a separate set of parentheses, 2x to the third minus 7, raised to the fourth power on the second set of parentheses. So you can see that the product rule is going to be involved in this, and the chain rule. So the chain rule because you have some stuff in parentheses raised to a power. The product rule because I have two things being multiplied together. So to start this off, I'm going to start it as a product rule. The first set of parentheses, the 5x plus 1, will be the u, the first part of the product. The second parentheses, the 2x cubed minus 7 raised to the fourth power, will be the v. Now as I find the derivative of this, I'm going to use the product rule, which says f prime of x is u prime v plus uv prime. Now when I get to the v prime portion of my product rule, then I'll have to apply the chain rule because v is some stuff in parentheses to a power. So what's going to happen is I'm going to have f prime of x equals u prime v. That can stay fine the way it is. Plus u, that can stay the way it is. Now, times v prime, the v prime is going to be n times stuff to the n minus 1 power times stuff prime. So again, to find the v prime, because v is stuff in parentheses to a power, I'm going to have to apply the chain rule. So let's go ahead and fill this in. F prime of x is u prime. We start with u prime. So u is 5x plus 1. U prime, the derivative of 5x plus 1, is just simply 5. Again, the 5x, because it's only an x to the first power, the derivative is the number in front of the x, which is a 5, a positive 5. The plus 1 on the end has no x with it, just 1, so its derivative is 0. So that's u prime. Then times v. No prime, just v. So just v is 2x to the third minus 7 in parentheses, and the parentheses are raised to the fourth power. So now we have a plus, then a u with no prime. So u with no prime is 5x plus 1. And then times v prime. Now again, to get the v prime, I have to apply the chain rule. So the n is where my chain rule starts. The n for this problem is 4, the exponent. So it's going to come down in front of the parentheses, 4. Times the stuff. No prime, just stuff. So just stuff with no prime is 2x to the third minus 7. And that 2x to the third minus 7 in parentheses will be raised to 1 less power, n minus 1. n is 4, so n minus 1, 4 minus 1 is 3. Then times stuff prime. So the stuff is 2x cubed minus 7. So stuff prime will be 6x to the second power. Now again, that comes from the derivative of 2x to the third. The exponent of 3 comes down times the 2, the number in front. 3 times 2, there's the 6. X to the 1 less power, that third power drops down to a second power. Now the minus 7 in the end of the parentheses has no x with it, so its derivative is 0. So I can just close the parentheses now, close my brackets. And that is the answer. It can be simplified if you like. You don't really have to. You can clean it up now. So this is really as far as you have to go in terms of the calculus. So the next line or two that I'll write is just strictly algebra. Again, what would you have to do with this result is put in a value for x. You can do that now. But just for the sake of algebra practice, we can clean it up a little bit. Now this first piece, 5 times 2x cubed minus 7 in parentheses to the fourth power, I cannot bring the 5 into the parentheses because the parentheses are being raised to the fourth power, the 5 is not. So that's as cleaned up as that can go for now. So I have a plus And now I have 5x plus 1. Let me leave that for a minute. Now, I have 4 and 6x squared outside of my parentheses coming in the next chunk of my answer. There's a 4 in front of my 2x cubed minus 7 to the third and a 6x squared after that parentheses. So I can multiply those together. 4 times 6x squared is 24x squared. And then I still have the 2x cubed minus 7 in parentheses to the third power. Notice my 24x squared in front of those parentheses cannot be multiplied inside the parentheses because the parentheses are raised to the third power. The 24x squared is not. Again, exponents must be done before multiplication. That's just the order of operations. So let me bring this down another line. And for now, my answer starts with 5 times 2x cubed minus 7 to the fourth. Can't be simplified much. Let's just leave that. But the next part of my answer, I have 5x plus 1 times 24x squared. Again, no exponents outside of those parentheses, so I can multiply the 24x squared times the 5x and multiply the 24x squared times the 1. So 24x squared times 5x. So 24 times 5 is going to be 120. And then x to the first times x to the second will be x to the third. So I'm going to have 120 x to the third, a result of 24x squared times 5x. And then 24x squared times 1 is 24x squared. That one's a little bit easier. And that's multiplied times 2x cubed minus 7 in parentheses to the third power. So what I have is an answer with 2 basic parts in it. Each part has the same parentheses of 2x cubed minus 7. And one part is to the fourth power, the other part to the third power. So I can pull out, I have f prime of x equals 2x cubed minus 7 to the third power. Because up to third power will come out of a fourth power, and up to third power will come out of a third power. Let me put in some brackets. So from the first chunk, 5 times 2x cubed minus 7 to the fourth, the 5 will stay, and I'll have 2x cubed minus 7 just to the first power. Because again, when you take out a third power, you subtract those exponents. 4 minus 3 goes down to a first power. And when I take out a third power, I'm going to be left with 120 x cubed plus 24 x squared. And now to finish it off, again, this is finished as far as it really needs to go. We can simplify it a little bit. I have a set of parentheses times 5 in front, so I can clear that. So let me come up a little bit higher. F prime of x equals, so I have a 2x cubed minus 7 to the third power that I've pulled in front of my brackets. Now, inside the brackets, I have 5 times 2x cubed minus 7. Again, I can't take this one out in front because it would have to come out from both pieces in the brackets, and even though it's in the first piece, it's not showing up in the second piece. So let me do 5 times the 2x cubed, which will be 10x cubed. Then 5 times negative 7 is negative 35. And the other parentheses in there don't really have anything in front. It's kind of understood to be a 1, but I don't really need to write the parentheses, so I can just put plus 120x cubed plus 24x squared and now I can combine a few pieces inside the brackets, I have x cubed showing up in 2 places, so I can put those together. So my final answer, I'll have f prime of x equals 2x cubed minus 7 to the 3rd power. And then you don't have to write the second part as brackets. You can make those parentheses too. So I have 10x cubed positive, 120x cubed positive. If I put them together, I'll have 130x cubed. And it's most traditional to put the x squared next. You don't have to, but I will. Plus 24x squared, takes care of that piece, and then minus 35. And now that's as simplified as it'll go. So I have my final answer, f prime of x equals, one set of parentheses has 2x cubed minus 7 in it, and that set of parentheses is raised to the 3rd power. And then the second set of parentheses is 130x cubed plus 24x squared minus 35.